This is a Musclecat Media production.
Okay, baseball expats, baseball expots, weekend pickoff with Spoon. 1 weekend to go of baseball before the All-Star break. I cannot believe we are making that statement.
Yeah, it's typical of my fashion and form as well. I reckon I've finally gotten on a bit of a roll, and then the sport's just going to shut down for a week. Like it takes you, there's probably a lot of hitters in that same category. Like you finally start to get hot at the start of July, and now you got to go sit on your bum for a week.
Tell me about your role. Why are you hot? Give me something.
Well, those
who in your good place.
Yeah, those who listened on Tuesday's episode had that sort of double pick that ended up being a very comfortable watch. So we both talked about how crazy it was that Yuri Perez's line was 5.5. He had like one sort of inning, I think the second, where he looked a little bit shaky, and then he just locked in. He had 8 strikeouts. Ended up not making the player performance double the play. We just took the strikeout line. But if you were looking at those player performance doubles, I think 5 in the win was $3.
Have you got like 6 in a row?
I think it's 6 in a row now, yeah. And the other one was that Brian Bayo play, which, player performance doubles against the Rockies have been a very profitable sort of venture over the years. So, spoiler alert, I'm going to be taking another one tomorrow when we get to that in a minute.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, you're red hot, 6 in a row. You've more than covered now the Avalanche loss that we had. I went 1-1 on the picks from our last show. The Jays one I was on the money with on 2 accounts. I said, one, if the Jays lose, they're going to lose like 2-1 or 3-2. The Jays did lose 2-1. I also took the under in the game, and I think on the podcast, I directly said, I feel good about the under because the Jays are probably going to win, and it's going to be 6-1. So that's exactly what happened with it. Now, my under and my logic with the Orioles was off. I thought I was finding a bargain with the under.
I think you were.
I still like my logic.
You were going well, though. The starters were like pretty tight, I think, until I think Holmes gave up like 4 or 5 late. But I checked that game in the 6th and it was like 2-1 or 3-2.
Yeah, I was thinking it was great. Like I was like, man, my logic was going, and then it was just the bullpens of bad teams that ended up
It's so tough when you take an under and it ends up being like 10 runs over, but there were those 1 or 2 moments where it was like, if we get out of this bases loaded jam, that game finishes like 3-2, right? You can kind of like mentally, you were close, but it's hard to prove it to someone when the line is what it is.
Yeah, so I'm not going to question my logic. Just like my Avalanche bust, my logic was right. Like 3 1-run losses and a couple of extras was crazy, right? So I'm okay with that. Like if I was just like, yeah, I think the Angels are going to win a game and they lost by 10 runs in all of those games, I'd be like, oh man, I need to rethink this. But this stuff happens. It comes with the territory. You don't win every play that you make. Now, speaking of not winning every game and not every play you make, the LA Dodgers, what is happening, Spoon? By the way, I don't know if this is your pick or not, but I'm touching the Dodgers tomorrow, so we'll lay that later. But what's going on with the Dodgers? They're terrible. They've lost 6 in a row, 7 in a row, 6 in a row.
I know, and it's so frustrating for other teams in the NL West that this is happening and no one's making ground, right? Like the D-backs and the Padres just split a 4-game set, and the Giants keep kind of like staying at 500 baseball. We talked at the start of the year, like the Dodgers might have like one of these stints during the year where they scuffle, and they're having it now, and no one's taking advantage of it, which is it's awful because like the inevitability is they probably figure it out, and this was the one chance anyone had to get back in range. Counter argument, they stayed terrible, missed the playoffs, and I have one of the best baseball watching Octobers of my life. But that's probably not a 50-50 chance.
The other one I have for you is your other favorite subject, the New York Yankees. Were you watching today, their game?
Yeah, they were. Unfortunately, I was on the Mariners. So
Dude, they were getting no hit. Brian Wu was looking unbelievable. They got no hit until what, deep in the 8th or whatever it was?
And to do that against that Mariners bullpen of like, is it Brash and Munoz? I reckon they've got to be like the best 8-9 guys, maybe just behind Abreu and Hader. But as far as like, here's 6 outs we're getting almost every single night from like a setup guy and a closer. Yeah, I as a Jays fan, I'd be interested in your thoughts, but that looks like the kind of win that turns things around, right? And the trade-off to that is it happens right before the All-Star break, which sometimes can be a little bit frustrating when those momentum swings get reset. But yeah, the Yankees have been scuffling. A win like that really turns things around.
So the Yankees are the only team in the last 100 years to have 2 extra innings wins after being no hit through 6 innings, which is a weird stat, right? Like, I don't know why you look it up, but it's kind of weird how rare this is. You get no hit through 6 innings. Today was 8, and then you force extras and win. A lot of things need to happen. It's happened only twice in the last 100 years, and it's happened both this year with the New York Yankees.
That's crazy. And I mean, I guess you kind of think about it. I feel, how much of that can you attribute to Aaron Judge, right? Because a no-hitter isn't a perfect game. And in any no-hitter that is going on against the Yankees, you probably walk Judge every single time, right? So, like, if there was a team where that was to happen, you'd think it would be them. And then all of a sudden, when a guy gets on, the bases are loaded, Judge is up, we can't walk him, we give him a chance to hit. Like, it kind of makes sense for it to be the Yankees of any team for such an obscure kind of...
Such a menace, too.
Data point, yeah.
Brian Wu, though, there was a really cool social media clip going around. Recommend anybody to watch this, where he was named to the All-Star team and he calls his parents to tell him to meet him in Atlanta. Awesome clip. You can find that on MLB socials, or just search Brian Wu calls his parents. I'm sure it's there. Seems like a good dude. Like, that's it. Yeah, I don't know. He seems like just like a wholesome, good dude. Good for him. Happy he's on that All-Star selection. Spoon, let's jump to some picks. I'm going to start us off here, and I'm going to go with some value right away, because I'm worried you're going to sneak in and steal mine, although I don't know how often you bet on this team. It's not often in life that you have an opportunity to take the Dodgers as plus money underdogs at any point. They are paying $2.10 right now. I checked about an hour ago. They're playing the Giants this year. The Dodgers have lost 6 in a row, and they are paying $2.10 just to win, just to straight up beat the Giants. Now, are they scuffling? Sure. Are they on the road? Yes. But this is the LA Dodgers. This is the World Series champs. This is a team with $1 trillion payroll. Anytime you get them at over $2, I feel like you just have to take them. I cannot believe, even though they've lost 6 in a row, although I can believe it, this would be the only time it would happen. I'm on the Dodgers, baby, just to win on Friday, not an avalanche, just to straight up win. For that reason I like the value and the team.
Yeah, I think you got a point. I mean, it's so rare to see that outside of maybe like a playoff series, right, where they're on the road. It purely comes down to the Logan Webb factor. Like, if it was any other Giants starter, even probably Robbie Ray, I think you see the Giants as favorites. But Logan Webb has just been so good.
I don't know about that, man. Like, I think I think it's the 6-game losing streak. Like, if the Dodgers had gone 3-3 in the last week, they would not be $2.10. They might be $1.85. It might be $1.90. It might be good value because they're going against Webb. But the fact that you can get double your money plus is only because they're on a losing streak that shouldn't really happen anyways.
Yeah, and I guess there's questions around like the rotation in general, the flow-on effects. Like Dustin May, I read an interesting stat and a funny comment about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Dustin May made his first ever start in June. Like, he'd never made a June start before or something like that. And then one of the best comments I've seen, someone said that's because his elbow is usually dust in May. But like, he's never pitched as far into a season as he has right now. We're in the middle of July, but they've got to keep pushing him because there's nobody else to pitch, right? So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I like the pick. I mean, it makes sense. You're getting that momentum on the price, and I mean, how bad can they stay? Like, 6 in a row. I'd be amazed if they've lost 6 games in a row anytime in the last 3 or 4 years. If you wanted to then stretch that stat to 7 or 8, I think it'd be even rarer.
Now, I'm also going to jump on an avalanche, but in the middle of a series, and this is what I like about it. So the Rays and the Red Sox are playing a 4-game series right now. Rays are about even money. I think they were $1.96 last time, but the Red Sox have won 7 in a row. They are playing some really good baseball right now. The Rays are a good baseball team, man. I don't think they're going to get swept 4 games. I don't think the Red Sox are a good enough team to win 10 games in a row. And I think if they keep winning and they're at home, you're going to get mainly favorable odds in favor of the Red Sox. Well, I guess value on the Rays. So I'm going to start another avalanche, get back on the train. I'm going Rays to win tomorrow, and I'll double down if they don't do it on the next day. But I kind of like the Rays to just win a game this weekend at Fenway. They've already lost 1, by the way.
Yeah, I was on them today. They were $1.95 underdogs, and they had as Shane Bars pitching, had Taj Bradley pitching and Walker Buehler was pitching for the Red Sox, I just couldn't believe that the Rays were underdogs. So kind of like to your thinking, I was pretty keen on the Rays. It was a cruisy watch almost the whole way through. And then they gave up 3 runs in the 7th inning and flipped a 3-1 lead into 4-3. So yeah, they're knocking on the door. I mean, the flow-on effect of that was the Red Sox had to use all their plus relievers too. So Chapman went out there. I don't know how many pitches he threw. Whitlock went out there too. So, like, are you going to be able to get those high leverage guys throughout the series now? Probably not as confidently as you would if they hadn't needed them today, which sets your play up perfectly because if you're starting to go to some of those B and C guys in the bullpen, you give the Rays a chance to flip the script.
Just quietly, the demise of the AL East has been greatly exaggerated. They are the only division with 4 teams that have 50-plus wins. Before the All-Star break. AL Beast is back. Like the Red Sox are now 50 and 45. Now they've been hovering around 500 the whole year. They've just gone on this 7-game winning streak, but 50 and 45, man, is a pretty good, is a record that's trending in the right direction. And it is possible that all 4 wildcard teams, I mean, if it were to start today, that's what it would, I mean, there would have to be 3 wildcard teams, but there could be 4 playoff teams as right now, 3 of the wild card and all 3 of the wild card teams are from the AL East if the playoffs were to start today. It's
pretty hard to make a case for any of the Central teams to be a wild card team at this point, given the way they've kind of just thrown away the first half. The Guardians figure it out.
No, I've been telling you guys since the first day of the season who's making the playoffs, and I still believe in this team. The Kansas City Royals are coming, man. They're starting to pull it together. They're 2 games below 500. They're only a few games back of a wild card spot. They got hot last year. They're in a shitty division. They're going to have some opportunities to make a charge at this thing. I think the Royals are better than what people give them credit to, or at least Rollsy.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, I'm a game under 500 my own team, and I can't seem to possibly make a case, whereas you've always been a bit more glass half full with the season not being over in May, June, and now July. So I hope you're right about the Royals, and I hope, by association, you could potentially be right about Arizona as well.
I hope so, too. All right, what 2 picks do you got for me?
So it worked this week for me to go 2 plays tomorrow and actually lock in on some of these pitcher pricing props rather than, typically if I pick a play 2 or 3 days later, markets aren't out, have to sort of crystal ball the pricing a little bit. And that can sometimes be a little bit harder to actually pinpoint the value. So I've got 2 tomorrow. The first one's interesting. It's a guy I really like the stuff. He's had just a horrible run of injury of late, but this year has finally started to be able to pitch. Look, sometimes great, sometimes not. I'm talking about Lance McCullers for the Astros. He had, I think, nearly 3 full years off, but he's back and he's got some great stuff. Where he struggled this year have been a couple of horrendous starts, and he's off the back of he had a decent outing against the Dodgers. The start before that against the Cubs, he gave up 8 earned runs. He's also got a start against the Reds that gave up 7 earned runs. He's kind of been rocks and diamonds all year, but when I had a look at it a little bit more, there's a real big split between his performances at home and his performances on the road. So on the road this year, in 4 starts, he's averaging 7.8 strikeouts per 9. At home, in 5 starts, he's averaging 12.8 strikeouts per 9. He goes up against a Rangers side tomorrow that do swing and miss. They sit around middle of the league for that. And the line is 4.5 at a low price, but where you can get a nice bit of value, 6 or more strikeouts at $2.36. I think that's really good for a guy who's able to do that pretty consistently. And even in some average sort of starts this year, there's one against the White Sox where he gave up 4 earned runs. He still managed 6 strikeouts. He's pitching mid-90s most times, unless he gets lit up. And he's hit 100 once as well, which is quite rare for a guy coming back and being managed off the IL. So give me 6 or more strikeouts tomorrow for Lance McCullers at $2.36. And I'm tempted to take a little top up as well, and I think I'm going to. You can get 8 or more strikeouts at $6, and that's a tally he's managed 2 out of his 9 starts this year. Do you want to talk about that one quickly, or do you want me to keep rolling?
Yeah, I just think that series is interesting, right? Like the Astros have a chance to bury the Rangers in that division, right? Like they're already 7 games up on the Mariners. Maybe the Mariners get hot, win some games against the Astros, and the Astros fall back. But if the Astros win this series versus the Texas Rangers, and they'll be very aware of this, they'll have a 10-plus game lead at least in the race to win the AL West. Like all of a sudden you've killed 3 teams after the All-Star break. You have to worry about one and you have a lead. So I kind of like jumping on the Astros just in general, like surging towards the All-Star break.
Yeah, and I just think like he's got 6 pitches or something. Like he only needs 3 of them to really be working at any given night. He's had a couple starts this year where he's had all of them working. He struck out 12 against the Athletics at one point. He struck out 8 against the Mariners. And that's when he's just generating so many swinging strikes. But even with just a couple of pitches where he's able to locate, 6 strikeouts, this is a guy who's kind of going 5 or 6 innings most outings. To get $2.35, I think is a little bit wrong, especially given his performances at home.
I love it. All right, I'm on it. I'm going to jump on it now. How about your second one?
Second one, look, there's a little bit of risk here. There's risk because he's a rookie who's made 3 starts. 2 of them have been brilliant. 1 of them has been horrendous. I'm talking about the top prospect for the Cincinnati Reds, Chase Burns. He debuted 3 weeks ago now against the Yankees, struck out 8, gave up 3 runs in 5 innings and pitched 81 pitches. His next start against Boston was diabolical. He gave up 7 runs and only recorded 1 out before being pulled. I think I spoke about this briefly a couple of weeks ago. If you look at the actual footage of him pitching, he was clearly tipping, and there were a couple of guys like Cesar Rafaela. Yeah, Rafaela for the Red Sox just does not walk at all. So if you walk him, like you're tipping, like you've made it really clear you're throwing off speed out of the zone. Yeah, and I saw a Red Sox fan being like, there's no way he doesn't know what's coming if he's actually drawn a walk. What was really cool was he backed it up the next start on the road against Philly, tough place to pitch. Gave up 2 runs, 4.2 innings, 7 strikeouts, 91 pitches. So bounced right back, and that's a really nice sort of, I guess, test of where he's at. So that's 2 starts, 1 with 7, 1 with 8 strikeouts, and then obviously pitching against Boston, tipping against Boston. Probably learned from that. Tomorrow against the Reds, you can get him in against the Rockies, you can get him in a player performance double, 8 strikeouts and the win, $3.35. And I just think that's really good value given what we've just seen against the Rockies. Yeah, look, we saw how easy it kind of was to pick up some value in a player performance double for Bayo and the Red Sox against the Rockies. I mean, his line was 6 in the win, but he doesn't have the sort of same strikeout stuff that I think Chase Burns has. And you just get so much value with these player performance doubles. And look, 8 is sort of right on the line of where I want to play, especially for a rookie, but we're hot at the moment, and to get 335, I think that's the way I want to go. If I look at some of the other numbers in the market, like it's 7 and the win for 235 or 8 and the win for 335. I think if he brings his best stuff, he's getting 8. If he's tipping pitches again, he's getting nothing. So I'll risk this one a little bit, off the back of some solid form, and like the logic that was there on Tuesday. If I can pick up the win with McCullers at $2.35, that's going to cover this play anyway. But then we've got the chance at a plus price to really kind of go for the top up.
Death, taxes, and a player performance double versus the Rockies. It's kind of funny looking at the NL West standings right now. If you take a look at the run differential, Dodgers plus 66, Giants plus 20, Padres plus 5, Diamondbacks plus 7, Colorado Rockies minus 251. And that is why you jump on a good value PPD anytime you have the chance. That's crazy.
Yeah. What are the White Sox? There's no way they'd be even half that, right? Like, I feel like they'd be semi-competitive.
Yeah, the White Sox are bad. They're minus 92, right? Which isn't, I mean, that's bad, but it's like, it's not that bad.
It's a third as bad as the Rockies.
Yeah, that's the third worst in the league. And it's a third as bad as the Rockies. And they're the third worst in the league.
Athletics?
The Athletics, yeah. They're at minus 137. Who do you think the best team is?
Tigers.
108. Next is the Yankees at 106. The worst run differential from a good team is the Blue Jays at plus 20. If that makes sense.
I was guessing Tigers because I know their pitching is just so good. Like, I know the offense doesn't do heaps. Whereas for the Yankees, it's kind of the opposite. It's like the offense has been so good that's where their gap is. Like, they're two completely different style of teams.
Yeah, I mean, the Tigers, their run differential, where is it here? Yeah, I mean, they've allowed 360 runs, which is, what's crazy about that, though? And this is why I'm so heavy on it. The Tigers have a runs against of 360, which is third best in Major League Baseball. And it is not even the best in their own division. The Kansas City Royals are at 343, but that offense is like so diabolically bad at only 321 runs scored. Put that in perspective. The Colorado Rockies have scored more runs than the Kansas City Royals. So the Royals are going to start scoring some runs. They've got a staff to do it. That's what I kind of look for of teams to go on a run. Like, is your pitching there, right? Like, does that lock down? Because now you need to run off 8 of 9 wins, but it's really hard to lose games when you're only allowing 2. So that's why I kind of think that they're not out of it yet. And to go back to that earlier conversation in this podcast, I mean, you said, why don't, I wish that with the Diamondbacks. I mean, the Diamondbacks have to leapfrog a lot of really good teams just to get to a playoff spot. Like, that is the challenge with the Diamondbacks, is they're not like,
I think as well, they don't have those crunch time probably sell decisions that the D-backs have. Like, half of the D-backs offense is like Gino Suarez, Josh Naylor, and their expiring contracts, whereas the Royals don't need to buy or sell and probably still stay in that picture, right? Yeah. I think as well, I spoke to, I think it was Rosie I was speaking to about this, that I still haven't found the stats, and I promised him I would, but it's okay because he's not here, so he can't hold me to it. There's got to be some shocking BABIP luck for the Royals right now, I think, because if I look at the higher level stats, so they're 17th in baseball on batting average. They're 4th in baseball for doubles per game, 5th in baseball for triples, and they're the second best team in baseball at preventing the strikeout. How is that equating to the 30th, or what are they, 29th best runs per game team? Like, they're putting the ball in play. They're probably, I'm assuming they're horrible with runners in scoring position. That must be part of it. But they also must be hitting balls out there somewhere that just keep finding gloves. And that's the kind of stuff where some positive regression pops in. Like you said, we're looking at a completely different team. I'm trying to find to make the playoffs. $4.50 for the Royals to make the playoffs. That's not bad. Yeah. But you can put $5 on the Royals at $4.50 and that'll cover you when they make the playoffs. Yeah. So use that as your insurance.